Zero, you doth protest too much.
I'm not drunk, you're drunk.
Zero just drinks a little bit.
Oh my
Only
god.
a slight bit, only a marginal bit, which is perfectly fine. Anyway, we can get this going. Not everybody's here.
You're not drunk,
push the
I'm
button.
drunk, wait.
Yeah.
Here's a question: when are you not drunk?
Now. Also
True.
Zero now. Zero
Yeah.
most of the time, actually.
Yeah, I don't drink often. But when I do, it's to excess.
It's the beatus.
Yep.
It's fine. Also, yeah, it's generally bad for you. I acknowledge that. That's why I only do it on weekends when I'm not doing anything important. Except playing D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Except for yesterday, because I was busy all Sunday. I couldn't. It just didn't. So depressing. So sad. That's how we're starting out the podcast. Hello, everybody. My name is DrNiggle. Welcome to Church of Chonkwij podcast. I'm joined by OmegaConstruct, Masami, Zero Bird, and Kosen, whose Discord portrait has changed to Merrick Tadros for some reason.
I'm glad that you actually recognize the individual that I changed it to.
Yeah, I don't actually watch NCIS. But Google image search does.
Well, Google image search watches everything under that logic.
So why, if I may ask, just why an NCIS character? Officer Michael Rivkin, who I understand was part of a Mossad operation or some shit like that before joining the NCIS, and then he died. Spoilers, his character art ends in him dying.
I knew that already.
So, just recently, I have been invited to participate in a online, basically an online TTRPG group that is playing Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, set in the St. Petersburg, Florida area, southwest of Tampa Bay. And I am playing a character who is inspired by Michael Rivkin. And so I just put that picture there to remind myself of the inspiration that I was going for.
Okay, so it's sort of like in our D&D session where my character is loosely based off of a flamboyantly gay alternate universe version of Sir Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, basically.
It's also like how Leetness has a picture, uses his character picture on that server. That sort of thing.
Yes, but Leetness pays for, what is it, Nitro, Turbo? What the fuck is it called?
Nitro.
Nitro,
It's called
that's
Nitro.
It's like, it's Turbo. It's gotta be Turbo, because Turbo is cool. No, I actually have it because I got it for free. But
Very much like to have Nitro, but just haven't arranged it yet.
I just learned that I don't have any idea how to spell Kenneth Branagh's last name.
It's a mouthful.
It's Bran Og. Bran Og. That's how you spell
just
it.
like that.
Oh
Just
my
like
god.
that.
So yeah, Barry McCockner is based off Kenneth Branagh. If Kenneth Branagh was way goofier and way more of a poonhound, I actually don't know if he's a poonhound in real life. So maybe that's not safe to say.
With
Anyway,
a last name like that, how could he not?
with stunning good looks and deep, dreamy blue eyes like that, I mean, yeah. I'm not gay, but I put a big toe in him. I saw that. I saw something the other day that was actually on Reddit, and it was a guy saying, if you have one beer, this is probably old, but I just saw it. If you have one beer, you're not an alcoholic. If you upload one song to SoundCloud, you are not a rapper. But I go and have sex with one guy, and all of a sudden I'm gay.
Hey, I was about to say,
It made me think.
It really does.
I mean,
It does.
It's interesting logic. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with it, but it gave me a chuckle.
Hmm.
You know that joke is actually originally about somebody who fucks a goat, right?
I did not, but
Oh,
that just
that's
makes
amazing.
it better.
Like the whole premise of the joke is like a guy is talking with somebody, everybody who comes up to them calls him a goat fucker, and the guy that he's talking to is like, "Why is everybody calling you a goat fucker?" And he like tells him all this great things that he's done in his life. And he's like, "You know what they call me? They call me a goat fucker." And he's like, "I did all these things all my whole life. Fuck a goat one time." Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that I learned an additional goat fucker joke.
I like that.
Wait, additional? Not that
Oh,
we
yeah.
have any doubts that you.
Actually, you want to know my favorite goat fucker joke? All right, so there's a guy who likes to fly airplanes. He's like an amateur pilot. You know, he flies like a little Cessna for his free time, and he's got a buddy who he knows nearby who's a goat farmer, and he's got this one goat that's like his first goat. It's his best friend. He keeps it with him all the time, and he says to his buddy, I should take you up on a plane sometime. His buddy says, "What about my goat?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure. We got room in the back. We could bring your goat." And he says, as they go to the airport, and they get to the airplane, and he's like showing around the airplane. He's like, if anything really bad happens, here's parachutes. And the guy's like, "Well, what about my goat?" And he's like, "Yeah, we could probably strap one onto the goat. That'll be fine." And as they're flying, there's engine troubles and things start going wrong, and they have to bail out immediately. And the guy's like, "No time, just jump out right now." As they're about to crash, and then the guy's like, "What about my goat?" And the pilot says, "Fuck the goat." And he's like, "Do you think we have time?"
That's
That's awesome.
amazing.
Good.
Long way to go for the payoff, but worth the ride.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Nah.
I mean, the joke is very out of practice. I definitely don't have the rhythm anymore, but
It's okay.
somewhere in there's a joke.
It's okay. We can't be at ramming speed all the time.
Hey-o.
But I'm gonna throw this up on the stream.
The goat?
Don't
No. It's
Don't be bashful.
Just a tiny little joke.
That's
Just a small joke.
Make it stop. Make it stop.
Which got thrown up into the Pornhub. The Pornhub. I would like a Pornhub.
Pornhub.
I'd like a Pornhub as a channel in my Discord, but I feel like that would be going a step too far. It's way funnier when you have to skirt around adult content than it is for you to just like go straight to the penis joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though we make plenty of penis jokes.
Yeah,
You mean
yeah.
kind of like my nut allergy cum joke that I posted a week ago?
Yeah, exactly.
Choke on this.
Oh, this is so delightful. This is the best way to start for podcast. We can continue on with the story about the guy named Bowser, who is a Canadian national who was living in the Dominican Republic, who got sentenced to 3 years in jail and was sent to a court. While they were sentencing him to 3 years in prison, demanded that he pay $4.5 million in restitution to Nintendo, and then an earlier civil lawsuit before that had demanded that he pay $10 million to Nintendo for a grand total of $14.5 million. And this article just came out through Vice, showing a video of the tiny one-room apartment that the guy lives in the Dominican Republic. And the whole point of this is just basically, where the fuck is he gonna come up with $14.5 million? That's never going to happen.
He'll be working that shit off the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's basically the gist here, is that for the rest of his life, every single one of his paychecks will have a cut out of it. It'll be garnished like a salad, and the delicious toppings will go to Nintendo. So, fuck you, Nintendo. Seriously, fuck you. This whole thing came up because he was basically offering a way for people to play ROMs on modern-day Nintendo consoles.
Yeah, Nintendo can actually go fuck itself. Usually I'm like a ardent defender of Nintendo and their stuff, but I don't know, last decade has really been proving just how much of a shit stain the company has become when it comes to certain things.
All
I mean,
right,
they've
here's
always been incredibly
litigious.
protective of their IP, and they've gone
Yes.
after emulators and things like that far more than, I mean, any other
Yeah,
company really has ever cared to.
as soon as Kazaa and Morpheus became a thing and people started sharing around ROMs, that's when it got popular. Because there have always been sites. As soon as the internet popped up, there have been sites where you can download ROMs for old Nintendo games, and there are sites which provide you with emulators, which you can play the ROMs on. But once file sharing really started rolling in the late '90s and the early aughts, that's when Nintendo started being really litigious about all of their IPs. And what I don't understand, and what I actually wanted to talk about here, was I don't understand why there's obviously a demand for being able to play old Nintendo games on newer consoles. There's a market for it, there's a demand for it, and we know that people are willing to pay money for it. Why doesn't Nintendo take advantage of that and make more money?
Well, I mean, Nintendo's also a company that sells 10-year-old games at, launch price.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine. I'm just talking about the ability to play old games on new consoles or something like that. Unless something like that already exists and I'm completely unaware of it, it seems like a way to make easy money.
You mean like being able to play old school NES games on newer consoles?
On the Wii, yeah, sure.
Yeah, they're doing that. They've tied it and looped it with their online service because Nintendo finally, after years of saying we're not going to do that, decided to start charging people to access their online service.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
so you've got the NES console, the NES online console, and the Super NES online console.
Okay, well, that answers my question then. As long as they're actually doing it, because
Now, the number of games is super limited. Like, you can't just go and get games and play them. There's like, I think 17 or 18 Super Nintendo games, and then a couple of and like 90 or so regular Nintendo games, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's basically going to boil down to what games Nintendo believes are actually going to make them profit. Because, like, Nintendo, over its many generations of consoles, have had tons of fucking games. And I mean literal metric butt tons of games. But not every game that they've ever produced has been a bestseller, a hit, or a cult classic or anything as such.
right.
And I think it'll
but-
take time.
Well,
Sorry.
Here's the thing.
sorry,
We talked
yeah.
about this last week with Microsoft and how they are a software seller. And they are more interested in getting people to use their software than to buy their hardware. Nintendo is a hardware seller. Their origins as a company is in gambling machines, not gaming, not like video games. Like, Nintendo wants to sell hardware. Reselling old games doesn't sell new consoles. So
That is also
Nintendo
true.
is far more interested in selling a new console and getting people to buy their new consoles, which means new games, rather than retreading old games, which in their company's model is not what they're interested in doing. And they certainly have in some cases, namely with their biggest titles and their biggest IPs like Zelda and Mario and stuff like that, they certainly have done some re-releases and remasterings, but they're always kind of poorly received. It's a very common complaint anytime Nintendo brings something back that, like, it was a lazy effort, it's not brought up to modern standards as people had hoped. And yeah, they're kind of just doing it as fan service less than they're doing it to actually produce a great game. So again, it's I think it's important to look at the motivation of the company and what they're doing, and I just think Nintendo, they just don't care. They're like, yeah, I'm sure people would love to play that 30-year-old game, but like, whatever.
I think it also depends though on the on whether or not if it's a flagship game though. Like they will put love and attention into their Mario games, into their Legend of Zelda games or Metroid games or whatever if they're, trying to bring something back from the past to be played onto modern consoles, cuz like there's a lot of work that they put into their update for like Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, from being able to play it on the from being able to play it from the Wii to now being able to play it on the Nintendo Switch. It's not a common thing, because you are right, Nintendo is like infamously bad for like trying to get older games to play on their consoles and just not working out very well whatsoever. So yeah, it'll be it's just always kind of a shit show.
So anyway, yeah, this guy, I've in passing mentioned Gary Bowser on here before, and he originally got this attention because obviously he's redoing, or he's participating in a service which was providing people hardware and software solutions for their new consoles to play their old games. That is what he has been convicted of, and his last name is Bowser. So that's kind of hilarious. Masami, you want to go up just a little bit? And then you want to go left? And right in here, go through that door on the left. See, there's a door right there. Just go through it. There you go.
Fuck me. Thank you.
Wait, what? What's going on here?
Masami is gathering Mokoko seeds from the Lost World map. There are 2 more in there, by the way.
Okay, that explains why I can't fucking find them on this map.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
it's like the other.
Cute.
All right.
And since Lost Ark came up, I'm gonna bring this up. Masami posted this article about increasing Lost Ark's EU server capacity is not possible, Amazon says. Ever since launch, EU players have been struggling with queue times, or even being able to find a server to start a character on, because it is hugely popular in the EU. And Amazon has apparently come out and said that the Europe Central region is at capacity, and unfortunately there is no way to increase the number of players per world in Europe Central. Quote, adding more servers is not possible based on the complexity of all the systems that need to work together.
Yes, I'm sure the company that is one of the largest providers of web hosting in the fucking world is having a hard time figuring out how to expand their web host or their server hosting for a fucking video game. I believe that. That makes sense.
The only way that I can see that being feasible is if Smilesoft, or whatever the company it is that invented and created Lost Ark, made server hosting so convoluted years ago when they made the game that in order to actually they have a fixed number of servers in Korea, and they've never been able to add more, or something like some garbage like that. I mean, software complexity is a factor when it comes into expanding server space in MMOs, but again, there's no technical detail in any of this article, so there's nothing to indicate why adding more servers is not possible.
Yeah, if you go on to read it, they even go forth that they just figured out server transfers for Korea, like not too long ago.
Cross-server transfers are not possible in the game right now, and that's not Amazon as a developer. That would be Smilesoft, because Amazon did not develop any of this. Amazon's just the sugar daddy.
Publisher, yeah.
But yeah, Smilesoft is apparently working on Now that the game is apparently much more popular, because it's expanded to 2 additional continents, Smilesoft might actually try to make it possible for people to transfer shit. I'm glad that I picked the server that I did when I logged in, because now whenever I go and I look down the server list, almost all of them are busy. Our server is one of the only ones that is good and not busy.
I've noticed that. I herald you on your choice.
I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I just randomly picked one, but thank you.
I'll have to say, it's kind of crazy on how popular this game has become. I mean, I'm like legitimately like kind of impressed.
I doesn't even make sense to me, if I'm being honest.
Well, the thing is that there was a lot of talk about it beforehand. We spoke about it specifically because I wanted to see exactly how much of the pay-to-win aspect had been taken out of the game. And so far, while I'm playing it here, I'm almost level 40. I still haven't run into the pay-to-win wall. I understand there are, much like Warframe, there are time gates on things, like when you're crafting or researching stuff at your own fortress. You have to wait a certain number of hours, and you can pay the premium currency to rush research, just like in Warframe, or you can just suck it up and go do something for an hour. But yeah, it's kind of a fun game. There's leveling up to it. There's a lot of detail put into the world, because we're jumping into it years into its development. It's really super fucking pretty. The graphics are really great. It doesn't feel clunky. The combat is actually relatively rewarding. I have my AoE skills. At one scenario, one mission, I think I slaughtered at least 500 people single-handedly, because you can do that. You got the AoE, you got the power, and you pay attention to your skill trees and everything. It is rewarding combat. It's not that bad. It really is Korean Diablo, but a lot more pretty and with a lot more story. So
a lot more story.
I contribute those things to its popularity. I don't know if it will stay as popular as it is.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not surprised it's a good game, as much as I'm surprised that like it instantly became the second most popular game ever on Steam. And like, to me, it's just an indication of how easy it is to be successful when you have a company as big as Amazon able to advertise you. Because like
marketing definitely did play a part.
I'm not saying it's a bad game, but like for it to skyrocket to being the second most played game ever, or most concurrent players ever, whatever that stat was that we talked about last week.
Yeah, second most concurrent players on Steam.
That's insane. And like, I'm not saying it's not a good game, but to instantly become that 2 days after launch tells you that it's a giant pile of hype. More than anything that actually has to do with like the real quality of the game. There's like no other possible reason.
Yeah, go and read some of the Steam reviews, because it went from very positive pre-launch to mixed reviews right now. Some of them are very interesting, and it's just interesting.
Do you know off the top of your head what people are complaining about? I can actually. I can go look.
Well, let's see here. Most people don't like the story. They think the voice acting is terrible.
I mean, it is. The voice acting is pretty bad, but what?
Yeah, there's a reason why I'm using the Korean voices, because I couldn't stand the English ones any longer.
The fucking story in Diablo 3 isn't great either. That's not really why I play it, but
yeah, like it didn't make people's leveling experience that pleasant, but given that there's ways to surpass that after your first character, it's just kind of like, let's see here. There was some comments about the end game being extra grindy. And basically, there's a tuning aspect to the gear. Obviously, I have not gotten there yet, so I have not experienced this for myself, but like, it's possible to like screw up your gear on a bad roll, or or have to wait for that mythical good roll in order, for it to happen. And, a lot of people have gotten frustrated and stopped playing because of that.
Oh, okay. All right. I found a review here that does actually address endgame. So this is from a Steam review. So your progression pathway is designed to suck you in. Resources are plentiful. Yeah, they pretty much are. Upgrades fire off without failing. Your personal damage grows massively after hitting level 50, and it feels so damn good. However, the farther you get, the more you can see, plain as day, that the systems are designed to frustrate you enough to get you to pay. That's what I'm waiting to encounter in this game. I haven't hit that yet, but I'm not 50 yet, so that is one review that does make mention of that.
Oh, and fun fact, max level combat level is actually 60. 50 is just when you could start doing like a lot of the dungeons and gear grind stuff.
So yeah, let's see. Fun leveling experience, solid combat, great dungeons. In roughly 70 hours, messed with a handful of classes, taking Berserker all the way to 50. After beginning to interact with Lost Ark's endgame system, mostly jovial attitude towards the game sharply turned into disgust. So yeah, people are mainly... It looks like the couple negative reviews that are on the Steam page are focusing on what happens when you reach endgame, which is completely legitimate for an MMO, because endgame is the game in almost every MMO that I know.
Well, especially Korean MMO. Like, people are complaining that it's grindy. It's like, did you not know what game you decided to start playing?
Right.
It's like complaining that Warframe is grindy. Yes. Yes, it is. That's kind of the point. We did a 1-hour survival last night just to grind traces. It wasn't that it wasn't fun, but it was definitely a grind.
Well, this is why you're on a voice chat with people and you just fuck around in chat. It helps you pass the time.
Yeah, exactly.
That does actually make the experience better, I think, for some people. If you're like part of a clan and you have friends that you're playing with, makes the grind easier. But if you're not all that sociable, even online, I can imagine that. And there are a fair number of people that, are so perpetually online that they are just definitely not that sociable and probably hate grinding because they're just doing it by themselves and they just,
there's no
whatever.
reward. Yeah, there is no reward when you're solo grinding and you don't have the whole... I mean, I will solo grind in Warframe, but it is so that I can get a piece of gear so that the next time I play with people, we will have a better time.
Mm-hmm.
Or we'll be able to, do something differently than how we had done it in the past. So, I agree. It's better to do these, or play these sorts of games in communities, for sure. But let's see, as to... Oh, I had... Freligator actually asked me why Lost World wasn't available for him, because he would gladly hop on and he would level and play with us. And I did not know why he couldn't get Lost Ark in the Netherlands, despite the fact that there is absolutely an EU server. Apparently, even if you could get it in the Netherlands now, it wouldn't matter. Apparently, there's no room left, but whatever. At the time, there was. So I did a little bit of reading into this, and it turns out that Lost Ark is not available in, I believe, Belgium or the Netherlands because of the government's gambling laws.
I was about to say, let me guess, consumer protection laws.
Yeah.
It's because there is gambling in this game. You can go and you get chests frequently for quest rewards. And you can open up these chests and it says, you have a chance to get one of the following.
Mostly it's the cards. Actually, most of the other ones, it's pick an item.
Yeah, that's right. The card stacks or whatever. That's what I fucking love about this too, is that there are layers to it.
Yes.
You will get a tome of any card books. And so you open that tome and it randomly gives you however many books that are divided up into common, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary, whatever. It'll give you a random number of books, and then you open those books and you have a chance to get a card of that quality.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gambling twice, and I familiarized myself with that system, and I was just like, wow, that is a great fucking way to get people to gamble.
Yeah. They do have card packs for sale in the shop, of course.
Absolutely,
Otherwise,
yes.
the next gambling opportunity is basically something called ability stones, which you basically have to. They're things that there's a lot of modifiers involved. Basically, they come uncut, and you have to facet them, and you have a chance of breaking them. And if you break them, you don't get the thing, and it's like literally just you get a percentage you can watch, and that's about it. And you're pretty much at the mercy of RNG.
So
Yeah. And that's not even the end game systems. These are systems that they introduce you to through the leveling process. I'm convinced, even though they say the first 10 hours of the game are like your intro to the game, I'm convinced it's basically the 1 through 50 experience. It's literally your tutorial. Kind of like Warframe.
Right, yeah. You clear the star chart so that you can start playing the game.
Right. I mean, that's what Diablo 3 is. You know,
Yeah.
the 0 to 70 is totally fucking meaningless, and the game doesn't actually start. And like, you can't even access the hardest difficulty levels. They're not even just that. You can't even access the 10 hardest difficulty levels until your character's level 70. The highest you can go is T6.
But here's the thing: I'm getting all these quest rewards. I'm getting all the. I've opened up my card packs just because there's no point in saving those around. I'm saving everything else in my stash because I have no idea what to do with it. So if I get to level 50 or beyond and I get frustrated trying to grind something or whatever, and the game just peters out, I'm not sad that I had fun playing levels 1 through 50 because it was, if nothing else, it was a beautiful game, and it was. It was a slightly original story.
Yeah.
Just slightly.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same opinion. Like, I've enjoyed this leveling experience. There's still tons of quests and other bullshit. Like, just depending on exactly how bad things dry up. If, like, if I keep questing and doing whatever, then I will, like, minimally mess with endgame because that's not. I'm basically taking a page out of your book, Doc. Like, I'm not going to play the game how the game wants me to play in order to have a good time.
Oh god, no, yeah, it's the worst strategy in the world to play games the way they're meant to be played.
But there's so many, like, collecty things and crafty things and the whole stronghold thing, like...
Yeah, I wouldn't mind gathering more mokoko.
Because most of the complaints I have seen have involved the gear grind that, so people can go pew-pew harder. Not really a whole lot of the other end game activities, which there's many and plentiful. Like, this thing's buried in currency systems and collection systems and just layer after layer of other bullshit that you could keep you busy for a very long time, not even just running the, their version of Griffs or whatever.
And that's good. It's good that there's a lot of stuff to do and there are a lot of activities to perform to unlock certain things, because that does keep your player base entertained, but it's a double-edged sword because it also allows you to charge people to save time. And the longer they play, the more likely they are to spend money.
Yep.
So, whatever. The double-edged sword of Lost Ark. We'll see how its Steam numbers are doing in another 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, as people get to the grind and whatnot. I will say at least the card collection thing is, like, roster-wide, which they do a great job of supporting the idea that everyone's going to have, like, multiple characters, multiple alts, etc. And they make a lot of their systems, like, will go cross each character. So, like, you have a separate fucking leveling bar for an entire roster of things. So when you start that second character or subsequent character, you've already got, like, a character that's got a whole shit ton of stat bumps.
Sure.
Just a ton of stuff, so.
Oh boy. Well, one thing's for sure, it couldn't do worse than New World.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another reason, just to cycle back to that, Omega, I think that was another reason for Lost Ark's immediate popularity at launch, is because people do seem to be craving a new MMO. WoW has been going on for so fucking long, and Final Fantasy XIV isn't for everybody. So New World came out, and everybody was really... I think that jumped to third most played concurrent on Steam, and everyone was just really hyped up for a brand new MMO, and then New World turned out to be shit. And the most recent New World updates leading up to Lost Ark's release all had comments on them that were predominantly negative. That was nothing new. But more and more comments just mentioning, just wait for Lost Ark, just drop this game, and we'll give Lost Ark a try. So this game got positive marketing from negative attention paid to New World.
Not to mention, this was already like made by a semi-successful publisher that had already succeeded with the game in other markets. It wasn't built from the ground up with Amazon, so
yeah, exactly.
It was a little bit
established.
I'm just surprised that it's a Korean MMO that's gaining so much popularity in the West, because usually those type of games don't gain traction in Western markets. They always have a small following, but not to this degree. I mean,
I wonder if it has anything to do with that brief time where Final Fantasy XIV became super popular, and still is super popular. Because there's a period of time where Final Fantasy XIV had grown so much that they weren't even allowing new characters to be created or anything like that on their servers.
They weren't even allowing new accounts there for a while, actually.
Yeah. I'm wondering if there's like a level of connection between that. Because basically, even though Lost Ark is nothing like Final Fantasy XIV, they're both really popular Asian-based MMOs, and I'm wondering if that has anything to do with it in that regards, because like there was such a big hype following for Final Fantasy XIV, and then there's this new game that people could get on the ground floor of, and because we're also kind of desperate for our next Diablo fix, there was like a lot of people who are just like, oh yeah, this definitely looks like this is going to be, we should get on this game, essentially.
It is worth mentioning that a lot of streamers who are known for Diablo 3 streaming have taken a break to stream New World. So yeah, maybe not even necessarily. I'm not part of the MMO market, but I am part of the Diablo 3 market.
You want to know, this might be a little tinfoil hatty, but Twitch is owned by Amazon.
Yep.
A lot of Twitch streamers switched from whatever games they were playing to this. Amazon is making a ton of money off of it. Like, there's a D2 streamer, Mr. Llama SC, that I know some of you are familiar with. This past football season, for the last couple of years now, Amazon has had a deal with the NFL to broadcast games, and they've started actually broadcasting games on Twitch. Well, Mr. Lam was talking about it on his streams. Every Thursday night for Thursday Night Football, he was broadcasting the games, doing his own commentary over the games, talking to his fans about it. Like, he was broadcasting Thursday Night Football on his channel, and he was talking about it. He was like, Twitch asked a bunch of streamers if we wanted to do it, and I'm a big football fan, so I said, fuck yeah. So I don't doubt for a second that Twitch was like,
oh yeah,
hey, all you streamers, we'll give you something, insert,
viewership. All they have to promise is a boost in viewership, and they're absolutely getting it, because in order to get a Twitch drop for this, you need to watch for 4 hours. You're right.
I was just about to bring that up. There was actually a very expansive program that they ran to get streamers on board with streaming Lost Ark. They're like,
that's making me think a lot of this game's popularity might be a little bit astroturfed.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, and that's why I think I posted it in the main channel. It's just like, I wonder if Twitch's advertisers realize that nobody's actually watching these streams. We just sort of turn them on to leave them on in the background, where ads are playing to no one. They're paying Twitch/Amazon for ad space, And
Yeah.
I don't think that as many people are watching their ads as they think there are.
I mean, time is really going to be the factor here, because, I mean, even Amazon can really only keep that sort of level up for so long, and I mean, eventually, well, people aren't known for their patience. Let's put it that way.
They certainly are not these days. Speaking of not being known for your patience.
Yes, Doctor.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Segue.
Cyberpunk 2077 is totally broken for PS4 disc owners.
No shit.
PC also has minor issues, and CD Projekt Red is quote-unquote investigating the problems on both platforms. So what happened was CD Projekt Red released an update for Cyberpunk 2077 last week, and it introduced a lot of additions. It introduced perma ray tracing, which I understand pissed Kosen off. And among the many things that they added, they also made it so that people who were playing on PS4 with a legally bought disc just got continuous launch errors when they
got
after they installed the patch.
Yeah, they got super fucked. It like corrupted their save files and shit. It was not good.
Yes, there are minor problems for PC, but by far the PS4 version of this game has just been completely fucked. Oh yeah, quote unquote. I already deleted the file and reinstalled, deleted my saves, and recreated the PS4 database through safe mode, but the problem still exists. So it it literally fucked up his console.
Yep.
Which is just sad. But there's an update as of the 19th, 2 days ago. CD Projekt Red released an update for the PS4 version of Cyberpunk 2077. It appears to have fixed the issue that led to the game failing to launch after the most recent patch. So, but if your save games are corrupted or if your console got borked, then you're still shit out of luck.
They're not going to pay to replace that bitch either.
Okay,
Thank God for EULA.
I just posted a video in the Discord chat. The title is simply "They Just Fixed Cyberpunk 2077," and I will have to say this is an impressive display of what the patch did in regards to its visual upgrades. It feels kind of wasted, in my opinion, because of the fact that I can't play the game anymore. But it was still really cool to look at. If anybody's interested, you can play the video. It's really short. It's about a couple of minutes or so. But the thing that the guy is showing off in the game is the interaction of shooting water and what it looks like.
Oh, water physics. Yeah, I believe Omega and I went on a rant about water physics in games.
I remember that rant.
How it's fucking disgrace that we can't get water physics down when we've had games like Assassin's Creed coming out a decade ago that nailed it.
Yeah, no, that video shows that getting as close to real water physics as we possibly can within a video game is definitely doable.
Until bullets literally slow down in water, I will not be impressed.
I still remember that Mythbusters episode.
Yeah, not just slow down; they should get completely destroyed.
Yeah.
That's it blew my mind that the if you want to shoot somebody underwater, the smaller the caliber of bullet you use, the more likely you are to achieve your goal.
And also the closer you have to be to your target too, as well.
Also, it helps that the if the target is close to the surface of the water. But yeah, apparently a 22 can travel the farthest through water while maintaining speed, whereas a 50 caliber bullet just exploded when it hit the water.
Well, you got to think too. A 50 caliber bullet is moving at like sonic speed. It is they're designed as subsonic rounds.
It's over 3,000 feet per second.
Yeah, something like that.
No, 50 cals are absolutely not subsonic.
Or sorry, not subsonic, but
no, they are very very big boom.
I mean, most guns are. It's not even guns or specific calibers that are subsonic. It's specifically designed bullets that are designed to be subsonic by having lower powder loads in them. Because I mean, it's not, in terms of physics, the energy required to accelerate something that weighs a few grams past the speed of sound is not that hard to achieve when you're dealing with like explosive, when you're dealing with chemical explosives.
Chemicals. Engravings provide every tactical advantage.
Dude, yeah, that's a whole that's a whole system in Lost Ark that I have not gotten into, and I won't until I absolutely have to. Engravings.
Yeah, engravings and ability stones kind of go hand in hand. Even I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I'm not like most of what I've watched, because I've consumed a lot of YouTube. A lot of YouTube.
Not you, Masami.
No.
Yeah, no. I don't use that to learn Warframe at all.
No.
Or any other game really.
Okay, well, I still do that. I mean, that's perfectly understandable. But the other thing is the Warframe wiki is light years ahead of the Lost Art wiki.
Yeah, no, the Lost Art wiki is terrible. It's fucking awful.
We're so fucking spoiled by the Warframe wiki.
Yeah, so YouTube has been where I've been reading about Lost Ark, or watching, and streamers in general. Like, I'll tune into people who are like, say that they're streaming, like I'm playing a bard right now, if no one could guess by the giant fucking thing on my back. Just,
Wait, you're playing a bard in that game?
Yes.
Can you fuck things?
There is a rapport system, good sir.
Ooh. Maybe
this
game is something to look into.
You can pay real money for surprise gift packages that you can then give to NPCs to increase your level of rapport with them, so that they insinuate that they would like to fuck you.
Never mind.
Well, see, that just makes it faster.
You just said real money. You just used the words real money, and I lost interest immediately.
Yeah, me too.
They do have like you can emote at them and play songs at them, but those don't really, you have to be doing those a lot. Like, the gifty parts are the faster way to gain rapport with those NPCs. So once again, it just makes it faster.
I can't thrust my pelvis at something and it immediately want to have sex, then there's
no. Welcome to Barry's world.
Yeah. I mean,
Barry's world's about to get very interesting.
Oh god, shit's about to get weird.
Hell yeah, I'm down with that.
I mean, if all goes well, both Vodek and Barry's life will get weird, and it'll be great.
Wait, are we implementing that system that we talked about that one time?
No.
Damn it! We talked about one time.
Oh no! Masami and I talked about an in-game pregnancy system.
Oh.
It was something that was mentioned on TikTok, and we had a very spirited conversation where we had to space out certain words because TikTok's filters are fucked.
Even in PMs.
Even in PMs, you can't say certain words.
Well, so that brings me to another thing. You cannot turn the language filter off in this fucking game. You cannot. It will bleep it out.
Warframe is an M-rated game where you can commit unspeakable war crimes, but God forbid you say a cuss word in chat.
Or mention the word trap. Yep. What are we not allowed to say on Twitch again? Simp, insole, and virgin?
Insole?
Incel, but yes.
Well, no, I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry if I said that word and made it sound like there was an O in there. Yeah, I know. No, I know how it's spelled.
You had one foot in front of the other.
We were picking up what you were putting down.
Zero, did you know that once you get above, for 50 cal at least, once you get above 700 grains, the FPS starts to drop. So if A 6mm Creedmoor will fire faster than a 700 grain 50 cal.
The only thing I know is, see, I don't get into like all of the minutia, the finer minutia of bullets and all that shit. I shoot the guns, I have fun. Yee yee, bang, stuff go boom.
That's the best explanation I've heard.
So
better
I
than
just
mine.
love it.
I
Mine
have
is that I
shot.
love trigonometry.
I have actually
I mean, trig
shot
is cool.
I have
love
actually
trig.
shot a 50 cal rifle, and I will tell you that after I reset my fucking shoulder,
Oh yeah, they kick like a horse.
oh my god, and this thing did not have a fucking compensator on it, so or a shoulder stock compensator. The fucking recoil just ripped my goddamn shoulder out. It was insane.
Yeah, you're supposed to wear a special vest while you're shooting those.
Yeah, it was.
So that's obviously your
Yeah.
fault.
No, it was my friend's fault because he's a fucking dick. He's a friend of mine. I've got police officer friends, which should be to absolutely nobody's surprise.
Hashtag back the blue.
Maybe not. Only specific ones because I know them personally.
ACAB, all cops are bastards.
Anyway,
I don't disagree with any of this.
But no, we went to a range. We went to the police firing range, and yeah, he was like, "Oh, you want to shoot a 50 cal? Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, here." Put me in front of it. I pulled the trigger, had to reset my fucking shoulder on the post behind me, and he was like, "Oh, by the way, you probably should have put this on." Fuck you, prick.
Except the cops in my town. You don't become a local police officer because you want to kill people. You become a city police officer because you want to kill people.
No, you become a local police officer just because you want to power trip over the people who are better than you in high school.
That's not incorrect.
That's actually kind of funny because there is a cop here that I went to high school with, but he can't power trip over me.
I had so many people in the small town in which I grew up in and whatnot. Yeah, there was a lot of kids that became cops who were either quiet, unassuming, got bullied, etc. at all.
Yeah, now it's their chance to be the bully.
Yep.
The guy that I went to high school with, I don't think he got bullied, actually. He was a cool guy in high school. He was a nice guy.
Now he's a dick.
There's some people that, it's more about, I don't know.
Well, look, yeah, where you're going with this, Kosen, it's entirely possible. In nature, there's always flukes. It's entirely possible that there are people out there who are police officers because they want to make their communities better. I just don't think that's the norm.
Well, no, I agree with you. It's not the norm. There's also cop families where essentially there are people who essentially are part of a lineage of cops, and they don't fall into that bully archetype that you usually get.
No, they just fall into the cycle of abuse archetype because
right.
It's not like statistically it's not like it hasn't been statistically proven that cops are like 10 times more likely than the average person to commit domestic violence or let's just.
This by the way is the Jack Reacher speech, which is there are 4 kinds of people that join the military. They're the kinds of people that honestly believe that it's their patriotic duty. There are the kinds who join because their families have all been in the military. There are the kinds who join because they need a way to pay for college, and there are the kind that join because they want to fucking murder people.
But no, I definitely totally believe that. I was about to say, my family is a military family. Like, the majority of my mother's side of the family is Air Force.
Yeah, my stepdad is a former Marine. He was a combat engineer though, so he got to play actual Minesweeper. He said it was the most fun thing he's ever done in his life, and I was like, I don't understand how that's fucking fun.
That's a special kind of crazy.
Well, He's the one I learned how to play D&D from.
Yeah, that's a special kind of crazy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So anyway, the Cyberpunk people, whatever we were talking about earlier, blah blah, leading into Witcher 3 director and Cyberpunk 2077 veterans are announcing a new studio and a AAA dark fantasy RPG. So just like the developers of Diablo going off and creating Torchlight, we now have developers from Cyberpunk going off to create a new whatever.
That's interesting. I was not aware that was a thing that had happened. That's cool.
Apparently they're calling themselves Rebel Wolves, and they appeared in a statement to take some pot shots at CD Projekt Red. Because that's kind of an easy thing to do these days,
As you do.
I was about to say, everybody's doing that nowadays.
It was more in the vein of worker treatment and that they're, committed to a healthy working environment, etc., etc.
Yeah, quote, a place where people can know and care for each other.
I'll believe it when I fucking see it.
Yeah. Yeah, me also.
I have no faith in the video game industry when it comes to that. I mean,
when it comes to studios, smaller studios.
Okay, yeah, indie studios and newer studios are actually fairly good about that, but when it comes to AAA, I have no faith.
No, of course not. Look, I can't speak for anybody else here, but I'm not planning to ever buy a title from Ubisoft ever again. I'm never going to pay money to Amazon for a game again. I'm never going to pay for money to EA, whatever it's called, whether their new fucking platform is called. Not interested, Origin? Not going to do it. Yeah, Origin. The abortion that is Origin.
Or is it EA Play now? Or was it EA Play?
They keep on... I know Ubisoft switched Uplay to Ubisoft Connect. Because, what do you do when your standalone client is such a piece of shit? You just give it a new name and everything's fine.
For what I was about to say, it's still Origin, because I've got both Mass Effect Andromeda and Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and I have to have Origin going in the background in order to even play them, even though both games were bought on fucking Steam.
Right, yeah, because it says requires third-party software on the Steam page, and that would be Origin, so you definitely have to download that and create an account. But, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, have there been any other even remotely exciting titles that EA has put out recently besides Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which is just a re-release of games that they made back when everybody liked them?
No, they haven't done anything as of late.
They put out this year's sports titles, but no one cares.
Yeah. I mean, right now, EA is currently working on... EA is working on Mass Effect 4, I think. Yeah. And eventually...
right, that's their title in the works.
Yeah, and Respawn has also got things that they're doing too as well, because they've got Apex Legends, which you can do either through Steam or through Origin. Plus, there's also various Respawn titles that are out there, including Jedi Fallen Order. And there's a few...
that's right. Okay, so they made Jedi Fallen Order free for a weekend or something a while ago.
Oh god, it was for the entire month. Twitch had it for free. Yeah. Damn. I picked it up. I picked up the full game for free through
It's
Twitch,
a good game.
Through Twitch Prime.
Oh, Twitch Prime gave you a code and you can claim it in the Epic Game Store.
Yes.
Gotcha. That's why I own it on Epic. Ha ha ha. Haven't played it. Not opposed to playing it.
It's a good game.
Oh, it's a good game. It's good.
If I can play it for free, if I can play it for free, I've lost nothing. If it doesn't work or I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff. Actually, I am very impressed with the story of that game.
Well, I mean, it's official Disney canon.
That doesn't say much. Look at the last 3 episodes of Star Wars.
Let's not go down that road.
It's like, just we're gonna start this off, and we don't know what the fuck we're doing or where we're going. We're just gonna go with it.
We're gonna let J.J. Abrams and Ryan duke it out and see who wins. Oh, J.J. Abrams won. That's literally what the sequel trilogy was. Is let's let Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams swing their dicks around to see who can get the best, who can impress us the most. And it was J.J. Abrams, and it ended up being absolutely terrible.
Well, the funny thing is that Ryan came along and gave a big middle finger to J.J. Abrams, unsolicited or not. I have no idea what their relationship is, but yeah, Ryan came along, was just like, no, fuck all these ideas that J.J. had. This is all bullshit. I'm destroying the Star Wars empire. We're going to tear all this down and start from new. Good thought in principle. Didn't execute it well at all. Went down very poorly. Then J.J. comes back and does the third episode, third and final, because I don't think they're ever going to do an episode 10, or maybe they will in 10 years when everybody forgets about this. And JJ comes back and gives Ryan a big fuck you. In the scene where Kylo goes to or whoever, maybe it's Rey, goes to the Sith planet, and she's walking by all the cloning tanks, and there's Snoke's head in a jar.
Yeah. No, there was an announcement from LucasArts not too long ago that there is a new trilogy that is being planned that is centered around basically the new Jedi Order that's going to be formed in the aftermath of the sequel trilogy. That's currently all we know right now.
You can't do anything with it. There's nothing there to work with. That's why even George had a difficult time coming up with some original shit for his trilogy, or his second trilogy. It's really his only trilogy because he was working with co-directors on the first one. There's not enough material there. Jedi, Sith, they fight each other. Occasionally, the Empire builds a giant super weapon and the Rebels blow it up. That's all Star Wars episodes have ever been. You can make spin-off series, hopefully. As the further away you get from the Jedi and the Force and all the rest of that, it seems like the better the stories get.
I don't know about that one, because, if you go with Star Wars Rebels, there was a great fucking series, and it did well. It had plenty of involvement of the Jedi and the Force and whatnot. Did well. The Star Wars cartoon, or Clone Wars cartoon,
also wasn't produced by fucking Disney.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, it was. I mean,
which one, Rebels or Clone Wars?
Rebels and Clone Wars. Now, not all of Clone Wars was done by Disney, but the main person who was behind it, Dave Filoni, who is currently the gifted golden child that can do no wrong in regards to the eyes of the fan base right now. He's the one that's responsible for how good Clone Wars has ended up with, how good Rebels did, how good Bad Batch did, The Mandalorian, and everything that's currently being produced outside of the actual movies, the trilogies and whatnot. And they have involvement of the Jedi, the Force, and all of that other kind of stuff. There's enough material to do stuff. It just requires somebody competent to do it, and they just haven't had anybody competent to do it. But I mean, that's neither here nor there.
Just to reiterate what I said the further away you move from the Jedi and the Force, the better shit seems to be. I don't think that you need to eliminate that entirely from the Star Wars universe, because, yeah, obviously there are Jedi in The Mandalorian. There are Jedi... Are there Jedi? No, yeah, there are Jedi in Book of Boba Fett. But they're not the center of the story. It's just like, oh, yeah, they exist. They're over here. They're doing this thing. We're going to talk to one of them. They're going to be part of a plot line. And then we're going to get back to our main story. Main storylines of these things have nothing to do with any of the main content that is always centered around in the episodes. And Clone Wars, I can't speak to Rebels, never saw it. Clone Wars, I saw, I don't know, a couple seasons worth. I saw up to the point where Darth Maul comes back. That was pretty funny. It's not
I got new legs, great. Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah, he's like, look at my legs. Look at my spider legs. I made them out of old Death Star parts. Yeah, or whatever the hell they had at the bottom of that mine shaft on Naboo.
Droid Dakars, basically the spider shield drones.
Yeah, there you go. That's all kind of ridiculous.
Oh, well, I mean, ultimately, Star Wars is ridiculous. It's just, it's one of those things that I understand the point that you're coming from, Doc. I just dispute it, but I do see your point, though. I really honestly do.
So, let's see, moving on to things that are more ridiculous. Actually, I don't even know if... We don't actually have to talk about this, but I guess it'll put us into our tech review segment. But just briefly mentioning that Meta axes the head of their global community development after he appears on video in an underage sex sting.
Oh,
Yes,
I
that's
heard
right.
about that.
So this was, to be perfectly clear, this was an amateur operation, much as people like to credit Chris Hansen with being, part of law enforcement sting or anything like that. That was a quasi-amateur operation, and Chris Hansen actually botched a lot of investigations, and some people walked away from their court cases because he got involved and broadcast their shit on national television.
Chris Hansen, the reason that was actually legit is because that was done with... He did that show in cooperation with local police to set up those stings, because he learned from, it was the early stuff where it caused problems, and then the later seasons were all legit and up front. The reason this guy's apparently not going to get in any trouble at all, legally, because technically he wasn't actually talking to an underage person. So the people who got this video, who trapped him and got him to come to a hotel room on the pretense of fucking a little kid, actually took it to the cops a while back, and the cops were like, yeah, there's nothing we can do with this. We can't use it. He didn't break any laws. So that's the one of the biggest issues with when these vigilantes try and do it, is that technically no law was broken because he wasn't actually soliciting sex from a minor. The fact that he thought he was doesn't mean that he was.
Yep, can't arrest somebody for thought crime.
So the thing to take away from this article is that it is a 2-hour video. It's available on YouTube, and it was posted by an amateur group called Predator Catchers Indianapolis. And the video does not depict Miles caught in any sex act. It does not feature him admitting to any specific sex acts. It does not portray him admitting or intending to carry out any sex act, and it is not clear what legal ramifications, if any, this will be. It does feature 2 people questioning Miles, who in the course of the interrogation admits to having graphic and inappropriate communications with a 13-year-old boy. So he said that he talked to a guy, and doesn't know if it was a 13-year-old or not. That's nowhere near enough to build a case around.
Yeah, and the fact was, when the people who did this, they explicitly told the cops, when they took the information to him, no, he wasn't talking with a 13-year-old. He was talking with one of us pretending to be a 13-year-old. And the cops were like, well, then he didn't actually break any laws. He didn't solicit sex from a minor. He didn't try and lure a minor to a hotel room. So that's the problem with these kind of operations, and they've been... This is nothing new. These type of things have been happening all over the internet for a long time. It's been popular on YouTube since To Catch a Predator was a thing, and it's the only reason this is getting attention because the guy worked for Meta. But this is kind of the story as it always plays out, is these people who are vigilant, let's be honest, these people aren't fucking heroes. They're trying to get YouTube views. That's it. They're not heroes. They're just trying to get YouTube views, and they don't care about the fact that the way that they went about doing it have actually made it so that this predator can't be punished for it. But, that's not what they care about. They care about getting their YouTube views, and people on the internet giving them, good compliments, and, saying that they're so good for what they did. And that's kind of all it is.
It's... I won't speak to their intentions because I don't know them or anything they're about, but if their intentions started off pure, then fine. Right now, it really does seem like they're relying... Kudos for going to the police, but shame for not listening to the police or trying to coordinate with the police on this, because there are examples of how to do that. We already talked about Chris Hansen. The whole thing would seem to be they're relying on the court of public opinion and the court of public shaming.
Yep.
So you just put this guy's name out there. This day and age, this kind of accusation, this big, it did cause him to delete all of his social media. He got axed from his job. So in the court of public scorn, they've accomplished something, but the fact remains he's still out there, and he might just disappear into the ether, and that would just make it easier for him to operate. Because if you're talking about committing sex acts with a child, that means that it's moved from thought crime to real world crime, and you're gonna keep going. Once the rock starts rolling downhill, it doesn't stop. So I don't believe that this guy's done doing whatever it is that he's doing. And unfortunately, he can't be pursued by law enforcement over this specific issue. So, yeah, this was unfortunate. They could have done something. They screwed it up.
Well, but I mean, people who do this know that what they have is not legally actionable. That's what I mean by, like, you know, they could say that they're trying to, you know, get people arrested, whatever. They know that what they're doing is not legally actionable. And if they don't know, they do after the first time they do it and take it to the cops. And the cops are like, we can't use this. But they don't care. That's why I'm pretty convinced and generally of the opinion that people who do this are doing it for YouTube clout. They're doing it for views. They're doing it for followers, and, you know, just like everybody else doing dumb shit on social media.
I think there's a strong implication there, yeah.
And virtue signaling.
But yeah, good times. More scandalous stories about Facebook/Meta. And we'll, of course, all remember that when the Cambridge Analytica thing came out shortly after that, there was a lot of focus paid to how sexual predators were basically allowed to operate kind of openly and without restriction all over Facebook. Because the data suddenly became available.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the article makes mention of this, I think, somewhere at the end, where quote, Meta feels like it's been hit by wave upon wave of controversy for years, ranging from stories related to data protection and privacy, troubled product executions, and failing engagement numbers. Even underage sex scandals are not new at this point. So that's just the world of Facebook.
Pretty much.
Good times.
It's going to become so commonplace that it's just people are just going to become immune to it.
Inert.
It won't be as shocking and disgusting as it used to be, which is kind of fucking horrifying when you think about it.
It's just data overload. It's our generation. There's so much input that you have to start prioritizing things, and you start getting used to hearing some things, and so it loses its impact and its meaning, which is, it's just sad. Something, last tech article here is one that was posted recently, that GPU prices could fall dramatically in a matter of weeks. This falls into the category of I will believe it when I see it.
Yep.
The reasoning behind this, I don't know, whoever posted this article, if you want to speak to it.
I saw it. It seemed interesting. It was getting some attention on Reddit, but the article itself basically just says it's a rumor, but it's a rumor from somebody who's, you know, generally been pretty on top of a lot of tech rumors in the past. So it's not entirely lacking in credibility, but it doesn't really give, as you said, it doesn't really give any details into why they're saying that it should happen, but that is the belief that some people have, and it's just an interesting counter to the death of budget GPU topic we discussed last week.
One thing that this article does mention, though, somewhere down in here, is that a good reason for GPU prices to come down is as more Ethereum currencies move to a proof-of-stake model rather than a mining model, the need the demand for mining hardware is going to drop. And especially if Bitcoin announced tomorrow that mining is no longer going to earn you currency and they're shifting their model, there would be an enormous drop in probably energy consumption and demand for GPUs because third-party companies that mine Ethereum to just get interest basically would no longer have the incentive to keep on going.
So and also we talked about this last week that Ethereum, Intel is making mining cards now. Like Ethereum is switching away from the GPU model to the ASIC model with integrated circuits basically just designed for that purpose. So it could that in concert could be part of why the prices are going to be lowering. It'll greatly reduce demand on gaming focused GPUs and allow that market to actually be fed for its actual intended purpose.
But I'm not gonna lie, that would be amazing.
Well, that whole thing though is a thing that would the release of Intel's cards for Ethereum mining specifically, and the switching of financial models of Ethereum currencies are things that would take place over years. It certainly wouldn't, start showing positive results for the consumers like next month, unless Intel comes out with a shit ton of cards. But yeah, this was interesting. I'm all for it. If GPU prices start falling, we start getting back into the budget card, latest model budget card model. That would be fantastic. But again, I'll believe it when I see it.
Mm-hmm.
The NVIDIA RTX 40 series is right around the corner, though.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to see what new gimmicks NVIDIA has come out with for their next generation cards.
Mm.
But yeah, that's about it. That's the good stuff.
The good stuff. So was that it for tech news?
Yeah, that's about it. But if you want to talk about how Skype now supports 911 calls, I mean, we could do that too. But people still use Skype apparently.
I use Skype at work, unfortunately.
I wish we weren't using Zoom. Zoom is a fucking train wreck.
Yeah,
It's such awful software.
Yeah.
But it's like it's used for using Zoom for instant messaging chat is just a weird concept. Someone pitched that in one of the IT meetings a few weeks ago, something like that, and the suggestion was literally met with utter silence from everyone.
Zoom is one of those things that I'm convinced is a conspiracy because Zoom offered nothing new when it hit the market, but somehow it became the de facto program for that type of screen sharing, voice over IP, and video conferencing usage. It literally offered nothing new that didn't already exist. So I'm my tinfoil hat is getting tingly on that one.
Well, I mean, and I would have to agree that it's oddly timed how Zoom became so popular right at the time of the pandemic. I'm just saying, really oddly timed.
I mean, people were looking for a remote working solution, but that's the thing. Skype existed. I'm honestly surprised more people don't use Discord, because we could all grab a webcam and we could have a web conference on here. Not a problem. Mm-hmm. We can instant message each other. This is basically a combination of Skype and Slack.
Instant messaging, full screen sharing.
Yep.
Yeah, full screen sharing for presentations. Absolutely.
My wife's company uses Slack. My company uses and I don't know why they do this, but we use Teams for instant messaging, and then we use Zoom for meetings and presentations, which makes zero sense because you can have meetings and presentations in Teams, but apparently there was a bandwidth issue with Teams. that it took up a lot of bandwidth and it was causing our servers to fuck.
Why would Microsoft... Okay, no, I thought that was a stupid statement, but it really isn't. Why would Microsoft create a video conferencing software with shitty codec? Microsoft has been using really advanced codec. It's even published a couple for 20 years, for a long fucking time. And it's better on... I guess it could be detrimental to older computers running shittier processors to try and decompress the data stream, but...
The processing capabilities of your average corporate computer are incredibly depressing.
Yes, they are.
Well, yeah, they're mostly... I don't know what you guys use for your corporate tech. Do you use Dell? Do you have a lot of companies contract with Dell?
They're all
HP.
pre-built. They're all like 10
no,
years
I
out
know.
of date hardware.
No,
Yeah.
I know, but Dell has a better reputation than say HP.
We have HPs, so
we are using the Dell Minis, like the little. They're like 8 by 8 inch, 8 inch by 8 inch by 2 inch tall.
I know the
towers,
ones you're talking about.
quote unquote.
Yeah, I know the ones you're talking about.
I say tower with huge quotations around it.
Yeah, they look like they're on uninterruptible power supplies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of remind me of the cherries, those basically computer in a box.
Oh, Raspberry Pis.
Those are arguably better. Those are arguably better than Intel.
They are.
According to Forbes, because I'm actually reading a article from Forbes in 2020 in regards to Zoom. This is kind of what they said. In 2020, Zoom grew so quickly that its brand became the default term for video conferencing, and its explosive growth in the face of things like Cisco, Microsoft, and Google and whatnot just seems to be... It had kind of caught everybody by surprise. The COVID-19 crisis caused an enormous surge in demand for video communication, with so many people unable to meet in person. I guess the thing that Zoom was because I guess Zoom was having some really impressive growth before the pandemic, but it appears to be that the idea that Zoom is frictionless when it comes to its video communication is what really sold a lot of people on using it.
Frictionless?
Yeah, which I'm not even actually sure what the fuck that means.
In this context, what is that supposed to imply?
Sounds like someone simplified some technical mumbo-jumbo into something that makes no sense.
I mean, I get it. You don't need to download a client necessarily. You can literally just email someone a disposable exe, and they open it up, and it's got all the message information, and it automatically connects you. And the rest of that, I guess, that could be considered frictionless. But yeah, no, I don't necessarily understand it either. Or I don't understand it really myself. Because
it's corporate mumbo jumbo. It basically.
I'll take it back. If I was gonna do professional VoIP, or virtual meetings or all the rest of that, I wouldn't use Discord. I would use Gilded, because Gilded has more permanent features than Discord does. Discord has a chat, and you can have sub-chats, and you can have video conferencing, you can share your desktop, you can do all the rest of that. Gilded can do all that as well. However, it also has a section for forums, which you can set up however you want. It has a section for posting articles and posting announcements. It has an entire tab that's just devoted to scheduling. It seems like it's built for a professional organization, but it was designed for gamers.
It's kind of wrapped up like Discord, Slack, and Skype's functionalities into one.
Right. And
granted,
also,
I mean, Discord has entirely wrapped up everything that Skype has. in terms of
and they've
video calling, chatting, voice, video, or chat. Yeah. Discord has all that.
And Discord's got the popular name right now, which is why I don't think Gilded gets as much attention. But we still got our backup Gilded server. All set up, just waiting for the day that Discord decides to do something dumb.
I think, honestly, I mean, this is getting into just random ramblings, but I think part of the problem for Gilded is that they tried too hard to cop Discord's look. It looks like a Discord clone, so it's easy to dismiss as just a Discord clone instead of something that has arguably far superior features. So I think that's actually part of what's holding them back from growth and adoption. If they, did a better job of differentiating themselves instead of trying to cop the Discord look and vibe.
It's like whatever that, what was the quote-unquote Twitch clone a while ago? Their logo was a bumblebee. Mixer. Yeah, it's like that. Mixer, far superior to Twitch in just about every way, or right down to the community being way better and less toxic. But yeah, it looks like a Twitch clone, so people dismiss it as a Twitch clone. I think that's a valid point.
And it eventually died.
Well, it died just because Microsoft was incompetent.
Yeah, well, it got sold. Microsoft fucked it up.
It used to be called Hitbox, which was, the alternative to Twitch for people who got banned from Twitch, basically. Yeah. And then it got bought and became Mixer. Then Microsoft took it over. And then I actually know this because of stuff that I did working with Microsoft at the Microsoft Studio in New York City, which was basically the closest thing to the official Mixer studio that there was. But there was a ton of internal battles within Microsoft's different departments of who controlled the studio, because technically the studio was in Microsoft's flagship store in Manhattan. So the Microsoft store was fighting for control over it, while the Mixer silo was also fighting for control over it. So it was just a case of Microsoft's various internal entities not able to share their toys, and that's what actually ended up killing Mixer.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense.
That's how Assassin's Creed Unity died.
Yeah.
Also, Mass Effect Andromeda.
Good
times. Well, yeah.
Oh, Mass Effect Andromeda. What potential you had.
Oh, I know. Eventually they'll reskin all the characters and they'll iron out all the last of the bugs that are remaining, and it'll get a re-release and it'll
be remastered.
Yeah, it'll be
remastered.
And they'll hopefully do something about weapon balance in that game, because that was the other part that was bullshit. Look at all these cool guns that you can play. I don't need those. I just need the pistol. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah. Give me the N7, the N7 officer's pistol.
Yeah, exactly. The most OP gun in the game. You want a sniper rifle? You want a shotgun? You want an assault rifle? Here's a pistol.
Hey, the pistol in Halo Combat Evolved is like the greatest gun in gaming's history.
I know, and it's fucking fantastic, and it totally works in that game. Mass Effect Andromeda is only slightly larger, and they try to make a point of weapon customization. Wait, is there weapon customization in that game? I can't even remember.
Yes. You can add stocks and
mods and other stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's no point to any of that. It's just mod that officer's pistol. You're good. You win. Good time.
When it came to Mass Effect Andromeda, I played mostly close range melee builds because their magic system is fun, or it became more fun in Andromeda than in comparison to what it was in the trilogy, in my personal opinion.
It's fun getting in people's faces and blasting them across the room.
Yeah, exactly.
think my favorite one was shooting the the black hole orb thing that you could shoot, and then firing the telekinesis shot right at it, and then just watching the enemies go whee.
Yeah, no, the various combinations that you could get off of various powers and crap like that you're using, that Andromeda really played upon, made it really good. Like, they started working on that stuff in a little bit in Mass Effect 2, and then they implemented a little bit more in Mass Effect 3, but they really, really, really made it shine during Andromeda, and it was one of the bigger selling points for the game for me. It's one of the reasons why, even though there was so bad of issues with it, I continued playing it. Ultimately, in the end, what's really funny is that when I played Mass Effect Andromeda, I experienced no bugs, no glitches, or anything like that. The part that turned me off about the game was the story. Like,
it's the exact opposite of me.
Yeah, like, the story itself just did not hold me as much as I wished it would have. And there were certain characters in the game that just fucking annoyed me, aka Phoebe. I hate her, and I hope she gets depressurized in a fucking airlock.
It almost sounds like Kosen has strong feelings against the Phoebe character. I don't know why.
She's kind of a brat. The whole so a lot of attention was paid to the Mass Effect Andromeda story coming out because it was such a departure from the Commander Shepard character. You came in as Commander Shepard, and he was kind of an established war hero, and then he became a Spectre, and then he became Savior of the Galaxy, and it was kind of kicked ass for you to walk around in the boots of that character. In Mass Effect Andromeda, you come in as a nobody, and you have to sort of build up a reputation.
Schmuck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love Ryder. I love Ryder and his sister. I like that part. I had no problem with. I was actually really excited for the whole basically being a nobody who had to, work for his reputation and whatnot. I do get the. I do felt that, or one of the things that kind of annoyed me was just how incompetent he seemed to be through most of his, like, I expect, like, fuck ups and mistakes and stuff like that, because that's part of any hero's journey. But Ryder really seemed to be overly incompetent. In
Slightly.
At least, yeah, like, in regards to the circumstances that he found himself into. I also found it. I don't. This wasn't a part that pissed me off or whatever. I do find it hilarious how much his crew disrespected him at various times. Like, when you get, like, you're at the end of, like, going through and doing all the missions on the planet, and they do those little briefings at the end when you're essentially taking off to whatever the next area is, and Ryder's calling a meeting, and you're having a conversation with the crew, and basically nobody respects you. They make fun of you and all that other kind of shit. I did enjoy that part. That part was fucking hilarious.
Yay!
Yep. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, yeah. Needless to say, it's video game companies.
You can still romance and fuck a blue person, though.
Yeah, but it's Phoebe. Who the fuck wants to do that?
Attracted to brats. I like brats, but no, not her. Never. Out the fucking airlock. Fucking no. Let her eyeballs explode in the cold vacuum of space.
Good lord, man.
I mostly agree with him. I don't really like her either. I didn't like the character either, but yeah, that was my. We can go into the really horrible shallow part of this argument, which I still uphold to this day, and that I really believe that in the Milky Way galaxy they packed up all of the most unattractive people that they could find, put them onto ships, and shot them into space. And they happened to arrive in the Andromeda galaxy, and that's why we have Mass Effect Andromeda. Because everybody in Andromeda is fucking hideous. They are ugly characters. And it's such a stark contrast.
I thought Cora was actually not bad looking, character-wise. Like,
when you put Cora next to anybody in Mass Effect Andromeda, yeah, she's obviously the best looking. When you put her next to Liara, Liara wins.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
So, matter of perspective here. I'm just saying, that might be a likely explanation as to why there are so many pretty people in Mass Effect 1 through 3, and there are no pretty people in Mass Effect Andromeda.
Personally, myself, the one thing that I was most disappointed about Mass Effect Andromeda was no Quarians. Quarians are literally my favorite part of fucking Mass Effect. And I didn't get the Quarian arc or any fucking Quarians whatsoever.
They also do space pilgrimages. I get the point of a pilgrimage is to, hopefully return one day, but, sometimes a pilgrimage is going to a place knowing that you're not going back. It would make total sense for Quarians to explore a space-faring culture to explore a different galaxy. It would just make sense for there to be Quarians there, but nope, there are none.
Yeah, fuck, so mad.
But the Krogans are there.
Yeah, that's okay.
We decided to send the prodigious breeders to a different galaxy. Yeah.
So the thing that's really funny about that is the original Krogan that we all know, Rex, from the first trilogy, and Grunt, those two great Krogans. Absolutely love them. I love their characters. However, cooking Grandpa fucking Krogan from Mass Effect Andromeda, I would die for that man. He is great. I just love him.
Well, it's because he has that surly old man get off my fucking yard attitude. And there's something endearing about that surly get off my fucking yard attitude. It's why I love Doc so much.
Oh, thank you. I am a grumpy old man.
So,
I imagine you on your porch shaking sticks at kids so much. You have no idea.
I wouldn't shake kids.
Or city officials.
I'd shoot them with my BB gun.
Oh God.
As expected, delivers every time.
Yeah.
Seems a bit extreme, but okay.
They're BBs, they sting a bit, but they're not going to kill you.
Not like you're throwing tannerite in the air and shooting at it. I mean, come on.
That's right. Either that or, setting fireworks off towards people.
Oh, that could be fun. Not saying that I've done that. Yes, I've done that.
I recently rewatched American Ultra because I made a comment about Kristen Stewart yesterday.
Right, yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. Was there actually a movie where she did a lot of emoting and she actually acted? And I thought, maybe American Ultra? I can't really remember, so I rewatched it. And yeah, she does a lot of emoting, but she's still terrible.
She's really bad at it. It's like her programming hasn't caught up yet.
I'm sure that she's a lovely person, even though she completely wrecked that one director's marriage. But apart from that, I'm sure she's lovely. But she's not really a great actress.
You want to know what really sucked? For the longest time, I confused Kristen with Christina Ricci. Because
oh god, no! Christina Ricci is actually talented.
Why?
Oh yeah, no, I understand that Christina Ricci is amazingly talented, and I think she's great. But when I first saw a preview for Twilight, and I looked at Kristen Stewart, I'm like, is that Christina Ricci? And somebody's like, no, that can't be her. They don't look anything like her. I was like, are you sure? And I was like trying to do photo comparisons, and I don't know. They looked similar enough to me that I confused them for the longest time. And then I was just like, oh, that's definitely Christina Ricci. And then my actual attitude, like my general attitude towards her kind of plummeted because oh god, these Twilight movies are terrible. God, this isn't the way how she's a way better actor than this. And then it was Masami who corrected me on it because
IMDb exists.
As she should.
There was a fuck IMDb, whatever. It was actually the
This man has strong feelings tonight.
the movie Sorcerer's Apprentice has Christina Ricci in there, and she does a really good job in that particular movie. And Masami and I was watching it, or maybe Masami and I were both watching it, and I was like, and I was like, oh, this is the last good role that I've ever seen Kristen Stewart in. And she's like, that's not Kristen Stewart. I was like, yes, it is.
I literally, he said that, my head turned, this look of disbelief was on my face, and I'm like, no, that is not. Oh my dear God, no. Please, let me show you.
No, yeah. Did you guys catch Christina Ricci's part in the latest Matrix movie?
I have not seen the latest Matrix yet.
I have not seen the latest Matrix movie.
Watch when you watch it. Look for her. She's in there just for a minute, but it's excellent. The few words that she speaks are fucking excellent.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Blizzard. This just was posted in another Discord server that I'm in. Blizzard, there was a ban wave this evening. Unfortunately, some initially received an RMT notice in error. The second notice that they received would have been the one that was applied. So apparently there was a false wave that went out, and then a second wave right behind it. And they banned, doesn't give an exact number of accounts, but I'm sure that will pop up.
Is this pertaining to, might this be pertaining rather to the policy changes that we talked about last week, or the week before?
Week before last, yep. I guarantee you it is, because it's received an RMT notification, so somebody was doing real money transactions, and
I was just about to have you explain that alphabet soup, and then you used it in the sentence beautifully.
See, I can word good sometimes. Wow, really? I killed the fucking stream with that? Okay. You guys are just going to let me hang out there for a while. I appreciate that, dicks.
Hey, you were very nice when you posted that picture of yourself with highlights in your hair.
It's true, you were. I really appreciate how nice you were.
And it hasn't showed up on stream yet, so even better.
I haven't posted it. Yeah, I don't think I even saved it.
I don't think I even saved it, as I hear Doc clicking in the background. He's saving it now. Yep.
I mean, either that or he's going to pin it. One of the two things is going to happen. Probably both.
As long as it doesn't go into his spank bank, I'm okay.
You will never know.
I know, and that's a problem. I'll lay awake at night wondering. No, I won't. I'm taking melatonin now. I will not lay awake at all.
Lay awake wondering at night. Is Doc masturbating to old pictures of me?
I mean, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing I've thought about.
You mean weirdest thing you've fapped about?
Why in the world do Scottish goat farmers fuck the goats at the edge of cliffs?
So the goats push back.
Exactly.
See, we know the goat fucker jokes.
See, that one's a child fucker joke.
Oh
no. I always heard that as a little boy joke.
Oh no! Why did the priests? Oh, it's a Catholic joke too. That works on two levels.
I was about to say, give me dead baby jokes at this point.
I know a lot. Oh, you already know this. You saw it in the tarot card reading video. I don't know why I had that tab open, but I only had 2 or 3 tabs open on Chrome, and one of them was watching the tarot card reading that I was recording, and the other tab up in the corner was 50 of the funniest dead baby jokes.
Oh, God.
I don't know. Again, I don't know why that was open at the time. I'm sure I had a good reason, or I was looking something up, or I was trying to come up with some comedy routine or some shit. I don't know.
Doc was working on his stand-up material.
I am. Oh. Most of my stand-up material starts off with, so I fucked a dead baby the last weekend.
Oh no!
Just to set the tone in the room. And
yeah, because you're just such a stand-up guy.
Just to kind of judge the room.
That's right. Just to set the tone so that anybody who doesn't appreciate my type of humor can safely leave and not be offended.
Or at least only be offended once.
Who was it? There was a comedian, and I went back and watched because I'm a huge Ron White fan, and he was talking about him and Rogan were talking about a bit that when Ron White was opening for Sam Kinison, that he dared Sam Kinison one night to do this one bit at the end of his show that just clears the fucking room. And
the Aristocrats?
I think, yes, it was the Aristocrats. And he cleared a fucking room. He said he cleared a room of 3,000 people in about 10 minutes.
That is in fact the only... I think that's the only setting, or whatever you want to call it, container for a comedy routine that would allow one to make actual jokes about, for example, fucking a dead baby or something, because the point of the Aristocrats routine is to go as far as you possibly can, and try to go farther than the last person who you heard. And the last person I heard deliver that routine was Gilbert Godfrey.
Oh God!
Oh God!
Bob Saget's the best.
Bob Saget did another. Yeah, he did another brilliant one. The reason I remember Gilbert Godfrey's routine so well is because I think that he was at a roast and he had just bombed. Pardon the pun, but he just bombed a couple 9/11 jokes, and
oh God,
he was losing the crowd. It was not an appropriate space for that joke, and so he just launched into the Aristocrats and he went with it, and he completely recovered and said some really disgusting, heinous shit.
That was the same one. That was the same roast, and I believe it was the Bob Saget roast, because Pete Davidson was there, and Pete Davidson made 9/11 jokes and fucking killed with those jokes.
Oh man!
If I remember correctly, because the 9/11 jokes were flying because Pete Davidson also made jokes about Kellyanne Conway being there.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was. I think one of the jokes was, if Kellyanne Conway is here, then who in the fuck is watching the skeletons?
Wait, Ann Coulter?
Yeah, Ann Coulter, not Kellyanne Conway. Ann Coulter. Yeah. If Ann Coulter's here, then who in the fuck is watching the skeletons in the graveyard?
Yeah.
God, I hate Ann Coulter.
She's longer ago than the Trump administration.
Yeah. This was years ago. This might have actually still been when Bush was in office.
I believe it was.
All right, so before we get into the aristocrat routines and the dead baby jokes and the Catholic priest jokes and the goat fucker jokes, we'll move that into the post show. So thank you everybody for coming along. It's been a pleasure as always, and we'll be back same time, same space next week. Penis.
You know the best part about raping the baby? When the pelvis breaks.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Everyone can see that Omega's the one who said that, right?
Oh my God, no! Oh no!
We'll see you on whatever the fuck has replaced Gilded next week. Yeah. Bye, Twitch. Goodbye, Twitch. Fuck you.